Hey everyone,
Smile.
it's Real and Raw, and I am Lynn Serrano, and you are.
Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Hi. Nice
Good
to
to
meet
see you.
Have you ever been here before?
No, but I'm sure one day I will.
What is that fragrance you're wearing?
Uh, anyhow, how are you, Brian? Oh, it's
No wonder why
yeah.
I'm not allowed in most restaurants. No, just kidding. Totally kidding.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You weren't the only one not too long ago that wasn't allowed into restaurants, so it's nothing
Hey,
personal on that one.
I'm always looking to tell a story. Okay, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter what it takes, but I'm ready to tell a story.
and that's
So if I
good.
have to be the one that gets kicked out of a restaurant to stop and get people to wonder why, so be it.
All righty then. I'm sure you have examples too. Like
Well,
this one time at band camp. No.
I never went. Well, I did go to band camp, but it wasn't that kind of band camp.
Oh, well, we'll have to hear that story sometime.
There was a rock and roll. There was a back years ago, like early 2000s. There was an actual radio station in Madison, Wisconsin that did an actual concert that they produced themselves called Band Camp, and it was all of your Metallicas, your Disturbs, your Drowning
Yeah.
Pools. Like your metal or heavy rock. Yeah, and I won a couple years in a row. So I've
Oh.
been to band camp.
You know. Well, that's pretty cool. Band camp. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, man.
it's a play on words, but still, it's fun.
Yeah.
And anybody, and I just watched both of those movies last week. I think there was a third one, but I didn't really care for it. But I watched them, and I'm like, holy crap! Like, these actors like Tara Reid and Jason Biggs. I mean, these people are like almost like 45 years old or 40 at least. They're at least as old as I am.
Yeah. I love
And
those
it's
shows, man. I
oh
really
yeah,
love those shows. They were
man.
really awesome.
I mean that those were like the go-to shows where you learned about maturity and growing up and getting your first job or getting your first summer, um, uh, while you're in college, your first job, in between
Yeah,
semesters or
we'll
whatever.
leave the American Pie part out of it.
Well, we got to leave everybody in a little suspense or cliffhanger now. Come on now.
Yes.
Like it's kind of like, whatever we say, we got to like, oh, really? Dot, 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 and then just let the brain go where it may.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
welcome everybody. Thank you for being with us, all of our loyal followers and viewers, and anybody catching the replay. We're honored you're with us this week on this journey, or maybe this is the first episode you've ever seen. We're glad to have you here and with us talking this week all about simplicity.
Yeah. And as far as business, there, there's a lot to say and yet not much to say when it comes to business. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of business models that make things so much simpler now than they ever have before. I mean, you've got you can take an app and do your order and just pull up and get it. I mean, that's like the trend now. But back in the day, simplicity was, we thought that was simple back then, but
Yeah.
but now it's, like, okay, so you've got grocery stores that would bag, and carry your stuff out to the car, and that made it things simpler. And then you've got this next level of service.
Right.
And I mean, look at Amazon has made a business of people at first were like, nobody's going to want to wait 2 or 3
Right.
days to get their stuff.
Well, there's a couple of things there is that, when you talk about the way of the world and what we're coming to an end of around the world with the health crisis, is that Matthew and Ann, they were a couple of mine that got married in last October. And she works for Walmart, like on the commercial side, right? Like the purchasing and like the quantity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was telling me, she's like, she goes, how popular, where you pull up and you get your groceries and you order online. She goes, we had that 5 years ago, but
Really?
now that it's the only thing, or now that there's a reason or a why that's better, or once it's all that you have, it's kind of like losing one of your senses, right?
Yeah.
The other ones get stronger. People find new ways to do things. It's like, whoa, what do you mean I don't have to, go through aisles and take an hour to go grocery shopping? I can just save my list and then change it whatever I need every week. So
Well,
I think that the technology's always been there,
mhm.
but it doesn't. But we're always the variable, the independent variable, or excuse me, no, the dependent. Wait, independent variable. I think it is. Yeah, where the technology doesn't change. The code is the code. The software is going to continue to have functionality beyond what we may use it for. But it doesn't mean that we're in the capacity of just like what some mentors have said. Like one of our mentors, a guy that we know, he goes, everything you need to know is already, or Jim Rohn said this, everything you need to know already exists. You're just not exposing yourself to it.
Right. Well, it just that it's well, what Walmart was doing back in the day 5 years ago is they would have where you could actually order your stuff and pick it up at the layaway section.
Correct.
Yep. And so they had the layaway concept. Yep. Then after the layaway concept, you could order online and go to the back of the store.
Right.
What they brought to the surface now was actually, okay, instead of coming in the store, we'll designate, like here in Billings, Montana, we have in this county, we have 3 super Walmarts, but the one by me, they have 19 slots for people to come every hour to pick up their orders. Yeah. And so we're talking, it's just taking that to the next level. It's just like, we've had the technology to do video chat for the longest time until they brought it to our phones. Right. And you have FaceTime or you have Messenger and that kind of thing. Yeah. And that's how I enjoy talking to my friends is actually visual, and
it's just, it's so weird that the things that were, just like famous inventors and people, of the past that created technologies that we don't even know the origin of them potentially, but it's carved out a space where we are today, and I think that the simplicity is a testament to what you just said, is that layaway turns into this. This now is the concept worlds different? No, it's just that we tweaked it, and I think that that's where the simplicity lies, in the tweaking.
Right.
But that's impossible to do without the group of people that are going to benefit most, and that's the customer.
Right.
If it doesn't make sense to them, it really doesn't matter if it's possible.
And I can tell you, at least back in 1999, when I started my own lingerie business, I know that there's been capacity, and I've done it in the past. It's just that I enjoy the party part, but there's always the drop ship for your customers and that kind of stuff. It's been concepts for a long time. It's just a matter of taking those steps to always, like you said, they reverse engineered the little steps to gradually get people acclimated to what was actually the end result. And so businesses have just, like I said, they have voicemail, which, still yet to have many people not conform to that and don't appreciate that. And even at our hotel, we did everything we could to we always answer our own phone. We don't let it go to voicemail. We don't, not in the hotel business. Yeah. And it's just that people enjoy talking to a regular person, and they don't remember you used to do 555-1212 to get information. Yep. And people used to call information. Well, where are they now? They're not. You got Google instead, It's
it's a whole cultural change where nobody uses phone books anymore. I also think that there's given all the options, that's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. Oh,
not
for
that
sure.
They're not bad, or not that they don't serve a purpose, but you don't channel anything. Depending on somebody's industry, I can just say this, is that in some industries, like Jerry's industry, for instance, it's impossible for him to do a SWOT analysis. Like I watched it, him and Cheryl's video yesterday, where it's like, could you imagine trying to do a SWOT analysis without actually talking to the person, or without connecting them in some neutral space, or tapping into their business, or however that works, right?
Right.
It's like you can't give honest answers and whatnot without connecting to some degree. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't want to talk to the person, you just want to click this, click that. It's like, that may work for commodity goods, but in my industry, that doesn't work for something highly personalized and like a high touch thing with like weddings, right?
Right.
Now, not all weddings are created that way, and not all service providers do that.
Right.
But for my line of work, is that it is impossible for me to help a couple create what's important to them without knowing anything about them.
Right.
Or they want to know what the dollars are, and I'm like, well, I don't even know who you are. I mean, and it's not like it's bad, or I'm trying to make them wrong. It's just that, well, let's see if we even like each other.
Right.
Because if we don't like each other, the dollars don't matter, right?
Yeah.
Like, you could go to a place that has a product you want, but what if the staff is terrible?
Right. Hi,
That's
Sandy.
why people go online. Hey, Sandy. There's our guest right there.
Yes.
For Friday. And so it's but like, depending on the industry, it's like, it's implied that you actually have to have some contact, right?
Right.
And I think that the more that people lean into what they don't want, like, here's how I serve my customers best. Okay, well, then make that what you do with no exceptions. Doesn't mean you're not flexible. It just means that I know that this way isn't going to work for how I can produce an outcome for you.
Well,
instead of leaving it open and saying, well, I wonder why that didn't work out. Well, because you chose to go to a way that was convenient for them, but didn't offer the best result.
Well, look at the fact that now, though, you got to admit all the automation and all the different things that help you do your business a lot better, including the fact that you can have a couple that's like in Milwaukee and you're where you're at, and you could do a video chat, and you could do your interviews that way with them. I mean, just saying that there's so much simplicity you can offer to them to get that initial consultation and relationship going, and then taking it from there. I mean, it's really an awesome thing as far as simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, I'm part of an affiliate marketer with, websites and marketing tools and content and all that stuff. It's gotten to the point where I don't see anybody that's just starting out that needs a website, can't get one at a reasonable price and not spend $5,000 to get a page for somebody or market and that stuff. It's just, life and business it's gotten so much simpler for people to do business and have the right tools. You just have to have the right tools.
Well,
and so
I think that the paradigm has also shifted too. Is that from a paradigm, from a standpoint of connection first, buying second, right?
Right.
Where it's just like, I want to make sure that I like you first, then I may buy what you have to offer.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey,
Tim.
Tim Gillette will be May 28th. He's going to be in a couple of weeks. He offered to be on our show, and we're excited to see you there, Tim. Thank you.
Tim, we're honored to have you a part of our show, and we're thank you for volunteering. Is that the paradigm has shifted away, just like when somebody gives a referral, right? Back in the day, at least in the wedding industry, when somebody gave a referral, that was like, you're going to disrespect the other person if you don't, if they're available, you reserve them. Like, you just take those orders, right?
Right.
Now, in my opinion, it's nothing more than a name over nothing, right? Where it's like, you don't have any. This is why I created simple, easy marketing. Is awesome. The easiest, or the simple is not the most obvious, right? And so that's why there's so many options out there. And then obviously, from the moment that somebody gets a referral or a name, and then life happens, like they got to work, they got 20 million things to do, it gets lost in translation. And then it might never go to a phone call or actually reaching out, right?
Right.
And for me, everything that referral source shared with the person that might potentially need what that person provides, they have all the answers because they've witnessed that person. They know what they're about. They're not trying to sell their friend or colleague on it. And so that's why I always make sure that I tap into, well, what did they all share? What stood out to you by what they said that led you to reach out to me, right?
Right.
I want that other person to engage with that other person when they have nothing to give them besides their experience, and
Yeah.
that there was an outcome that was fulfilled, right? Because I learned from one of my mentors is that I don't want to talk about myself.
Yeah.
That's what other people should do, right? That's a testimonial, that's proof. But if I do it, I'm trying to sell them, and that's the farthest from anything I want to do. But
Right.
our minds are conditioned and programmed. That's like, ooh, where's this person? Where's the pitch? When are they going to make me reach for my wallet? But imagine if there isn't any. If
Right.
somebody just shows up from a standpoint of like, let's just talk to see if we even have a connection.
Right.
Especially, I mean, if it's in a commodity goods item or commodity goods sector, that may not apply. But where there's high touch and highly personalized services, you have to know something about somebody if you can create something that matches them or not,
Well, I
And what I found from one of my mentors is that consider it's not your price, consider it's that it's the audience or the person that's not right for you, right? So like if you have to be somebody or not to fit a square, a round peg in a square hole, consider it might not be what you're offering, consider it's who you're talking to.
Well, people forget that marketing or having any kind of business whatsoever, it starts with you. It's
Absolutely.
your persona. I mean, the old saying, people do business with who they know, like, and trust.
Yep.
And yet that's taken out of content anymore because people are still saying, yeah, but I got this water over here to sell for you. And it's just like, if you're a good person and they get to know your personality and you're, being visible on Facebook, then, out of sight, out of mind. If you're there, then they remember who you are and then they remember what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's always best, because what if you have a career change or life happens and you can't do real estate anymore? You can't do this, and that. And you put yourself in a box, just like an actor, stereotyped into a typecast that when you go to do something else, no one knows who the hell you are, because
Correct.
you're just, oh, but I thought you were part of this. And it's like, no, I'm a free agent. It's market yourself first. I don't, your business is secondary.
I think what I think too is that what is the, let's, and this is not a sales show, right? This is not about that. I know that we're
No.
talking about business and all the other things that are going to come out of it. But let's be honest, when somebody has a need, what's the whole point of them reaching out to somebody that could fulfill it? They have a need and they want it filled. That's
right.
it.
Right.
And so do they want that to be a, this, like, and we've talked about in previous shows, like, to serve you best, please pick one of the following 9 options. No, I just want to freaking talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Why do we gotta make this a pain in the butt for the end user, and then it affects their life, it affects how they treat people, and then it's just this vicious cycle that they don't have any loyalty or trust to anybody because of the programming that it's brought upon them, right?
Right.
And it's like when it's the only option that they have, like internet service or TV or cable or whatever it might be, they're dreading writing that check or making that transaction every month. Yes, market who you are, not just your business. They'll want to know what you know if you know they care.
Absolutely.
I think you have to show up differently too.
Absolutely.
You have to show up as somebody different consistently.
Mm-hmm.
When I do searching online, like let's say I run into somebody I've never met in my industry, or somebody, that just comes to mind, I'll go to their Facebook page, their business page. And if I see that they haven't updated any value messages or any ideas or any of that in a long time, I don't know how you fulfill upon a commitment of serving your customers or helping people, right? when you don't make it a point to put out value messages or things that people can use to show your expertise, to show that you're a trusted advisor. You know, if you don't, you can't receive what you don't project.
Right. And that's just it. A lot of small businesses before this pandemic haven't realized that, out of sight, out of mind. And if you're not keeping your pages current, then they don't even know if you're in business, all the wrong, you don't have anything to gauge how current or how interactive they're being with their customer base. And so it's really important for customers or businesses to be very authentic, very real, very organic, very hey, we're thinking about you kind of space. And so I mean, it really is as simple as letting people know that you really take stock and appreciate what they're doing for their customers.
Yes, agreed, Brian. Good quote. You can't receive what you don't project. I think that is what you said. I mean, I actually wrote it down, Sandy. So you can't be perceived as someone you don't project to be, or something like that.
Yeah.
Is that like one of the things that upsets me in a bad way is that, like, in my industry, a bride and groom in their families, if they're decision makers, anybody that's influencing the wedding, they are not going to invest their time sitting down with somebody, whether in person or virtual, unless they like what they've seen leading up to that moment, right? So why would somebody have to open up and say, hey, let me tell you a little bit about myself? In my opinion, that's a huge waste of time, because that is what they got them to you in the first place. Now that's just my mindset. Yeah, no problem, Sandy. I'll take our royalties if you make lots of money off of that. No, just kidding. I come up with different quotes all the time, but it's you don't tell me what you do and how you help show it. Take action on it.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that, because words are cheap, but
yeah,
as my dad said, words are cheap, but it takes money to buy alcohol and booze, right? Like, my dad said that to me one time, and it was just like, hey, it's so true that where the rubber meets the road, you can talk a big game, but then when you have to deliver that, do you know how to do it or not? And it's like, there's a lot of quotes in our history that talk about, the things you do behind the scenes only gear up for what you do on the spotlight and when you're on.
Absolutely.
And so it's like, don't tell me what you're going to do once you give me money. Why don't you give me a little tour of what that experience is like before I actually become a customer?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's
Try
just
it
like
before you buy it.
That's just like once you buy this house, we'll give you a 3D tour or a 360-degree tour of what the house looks like. No. Enrich me, engage me in an experience before I buy the house.
Absolutely.
So then I want to buy the house.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand that we've been programmed, and maybe this is different for everybody depending on where you live or your life experience, but we've all been programmed to be a little skeptical in the world today. That everybody's trying to get after our money, our pocketbook, and be sneaky and snake oil or whatever. That ruins it for the people that are really authentic and real. Yeah. Where they never mention anything about getting you to buy anything. Because let's just face it, and I'd like to have everybody watching this right now to examine purchases where you wanted to buy something and you bought it because of somebody that guided you, but they knew when to step back and allow you to choose to buy that. Because if they would have kept going after it, you would have perceived that as too stressful. It might have even overturned your decision to buy in the first place. Yeah. When you want to buy something, you know it. And one of my mentors has said is that, more sales are lost by selling skills than any other set of skills.
Boom.
So I know that this show is not about, sales and whatnot, but I mean, sales is a part of business, because if you don't make sales, there is no business.
No. And like I said, I I enjoy the fact that for the consumer in business, simplicity is first and foremost the most, like, okay, going to a place to buy clothes, and I mean, let's forget COVID part, but you want to know that if you try the clothes and you don't have a problem bringing them back,
Right.
or what the refund policies are, or if I open this package, what happens, and buying with confidence and
It's
making it simple. And
it's
just
all
like Amazon, I mean,
go
your packages, if like I got a blanket that was the wrong color, it came in teal and I wanted purple. I mean, like,
imagine
there's a
purple.
difference.
You like purple?
Yeah, yeah, it was like a difference.
I'll have to remember that now.
And so I went ahead automatically and said return. I mean, they were like, okay, you can take it to the up store, or we can, and I took it there and they put the sticker. I mean, they made it really simple and they sent out my order right away. So,
That's cool.
you know,
It's almost as if we've been programmed or wired as people to not expect anything. But we don't know what to do when we get an amazing experience. When somebody knocks our socks off, like with customer service or the +1 philosophy, right? We don't know what to do. We lose our minds because it's so rare and infrequent. And then there might be a tendency to look outside and see if the sky's falling, right? Because it's so rare, right?
yeah,
But that's also a great opportunity, but people don't believe it. I mean, now in businesses, depending on your sector, it's easier than ever to stand out individually. What gets in the way is the noise, right? I mean, the definition of sales is, okay, find a need and fill it, right?
right.
Why is that few words so difficult this day and age? Why do we have to make it so complex, right? I get that there's, different life cycles of sales depending on what you sell or whatever, but it's like the connection, the personalization, caring for the end user and having them feel that. Yeah, video might make it a little bit tough, but that's how you hone your skills. When you can get people to feel something, like at a wedding, one of the best compliments I can ever get, is before the wedding, the reception has even started. As soon as I open up the microphone as the master of ceremonies, and when a guest flags me over as they're starting with their salad or what have you, is that when they say, "Hey, I don't recall, or how long have you been in the family? I'm not familiar with you."
Yeah,
They're
that's
like,
awesome.
"Wow, how do you know them so well?"
Yeah,
That's one of the best compliments, because caring and being authentic and just really giving a rip is something that is, of those that have it, it's challenged more than those that don't, because it's expected you don't have it.
yeah.
But those that do, it's like, wow, what, is this person weird or different? It's like, no, they're just wired that way to care.
Well, it's funny. I had my GM at the hotel say to me, well, I introduced her to this one customer comes in all the time. I know their whole family, damn family and everything, and they had a brother pass away. So I thought I'd do the right thing and tell my GM, introduce her to this one person she didn't know. She actually got pissed off and said, you got to stop knowing these customers that well. I'm like, but they love it. I mean, they're like family. So I just thought always that was funny
That
because they
that's
just,
that stuff is so counterintuitive.
yeah, yeah,
Our reservations are going down. People aren't referring other people. People only come in here because it's the only option in town, or they're the only one that has beds available. But yeah, you want me to shortchange the people feeling valued. And
yeah.
and are we talking about lots of minutes away? No, we're talking about a few extra seconds per person.
No, and it doesn't matter. I work there anymore because TripAdvisor has a lot of nice compliments about me, so she can't take those away.
But what I'm saying though is that we're not talking about you have to bring in focus groups and
No,
you have to have
right?
lots of coaching and whatnot. We're talking about the basics.
Oh yeah,
Like, okay, like let's look at the check-in process. How many people are ornery? They don't want to be there. They don't look professional. They don't really care. They're going through the motions. So how about having a happy person that says your name, or there's like a little care package, like something simple, right?
oh yeah,
Or you have bags of popcorn waiting for everybody. What does that cost you in the whole scheme of things?
oh no, yeah, for
I
sure,
mean, inexpensive to you, valuable to them.
absolutely. I went ahead one time for a customer. She came in and she's like, oh my goodness, I forgot my reading glasses. And I've got work to do. I gave her my reading glasses and she lives in Canada. She wrote a letter, or she called and said, Lynn, I took your glasses with me. I'm like, that's okay. She goes, let me send them back. I said, no, don't worry about it. It costs you more than what they're worth to me. And so she sent a letter commendation to the general manager and said, this is way and above and beyond, like somebody giving you glasses. But again, it's whatever it takes to make them happy.
Let's look at it this way. Is that, okay, somebody caring and somebody doing the right thing, somebody having the customer's best interest in mind at all times, people won't have to check around all over the dang place for services. I'm not talking about goods. I'm talking about services. They won't have to look at a million reviews and do this or do that, because their pipeline would be full of people that want to get on their calendar.
Right.
You know, is there competition? Sure there is, but there's very little competition for people that actually care.
Yeah.
For people that actually that are only committed to being the standard.
And what's really important is when you give them great feedback and they implement it, and their service just went up to another standard because you're giving them.
I love when somebody says, hey, if you can fill up my survey card. Sure. I said, let me ask you a question. And I think I've mentioned this in other shows, is that now, are you going to only look for the good stuff and throw away the bad? Or is this actually going to go to like somebody that can do something about it?
Yeah.
And then they don't know what to say. And I'm like, well, it's a waste of my time if you're just going to go through the motions and really not try to improve upon anything.
Yeah.
We're cheating ourselves in our time that you're really trying to improve a damn thing.
Yeah. No, I go and talk right to the owners. I mean, that's just, I like when people have done that for me. So I do that in return. So, but yeah, in business.
But one of the fortunate things I think about being in theater and the performing arts is that, and I'm sure you can relate, Lynn, is that even though you were more of a stage manager than maybe the talent, right, on stage, is that you're still getting critiqued, but you're able to distinguish that it's not personal, right?
Oh yeah.
It's a part of your efforts and your talent, but it's not who you are personally. Like it's not about you and your soul, right? And I think that people that have not, and it doesn't have to be acting or theater, it could be anything, but Toastmasters, anything where they really get to the heart of where you distinguish those two. If you never do it, I think it's very difficult for you to move forward. That when you look at it as coaching, you look at it as people giving you critique instead of, oh man, that person was mean or they were crude.
Well, it's funny you say that, because when I was stage manager and assistant director, it was the coolest part is I took it upon myself to make sure that like nobody was in the wings to make any noise to distract from the stage and stuff like that. And some people look like Lynn's being a bitch, but it's like, you guys want to look good on the stage? I'm making sure you look good by not having somebody tripping on the side wings here, make noise and take away from your monologue, and so so I always took it upon that level to make sure it could be the best it could be of an experience. Hi, Scott.
So where is the line between you and the business you? Yeah. I think that this day and age, Scott, is that how you show up every day is how you are across all levels. Well, I don't think that there really is a difference of identities.
Yeah, the line between you and and the business you is that, your integrity and your ethics.
Right.
And that you are who you say you are. You deliver when you say you are. You keeping your word. That's something you should have in your business, and that is something you should have as your own persona.
And you show it all the time. It's
absolutely, absolutely. And there should be where no one can see the seams between your personal and your professional. They should see it constantly as a whole, and therefore that's where you get that know, like, and trust factor. And then from there, they are intrigued or interested in doing more business with you one way or another.
I think it's also about your zone of genius, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like depending on what you're in business for, where you really gravitate towards, right? Because I think like when you start talking about topics that you may have some expertise in, but it's a stretch for you, that might be something that's out of your wheelhouse, right? Instead of like, I'm going 1 inch wide and 10 feet deep with my expertise, right? If you start getting off in things that, you know, you may know about, but it's really not your passion. Leave that for somebody else, right?
Right.
Go in with your zone of genius
Right.
and deepen that, you know, leave things that are really not your passion to other people to talk about, you know. Lynn is being a what?
Yeah, actually, it's a
Hey, Charles.
compliment. It's a compliment.
Pardon moi.
Yeah, pardon moi. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. People need to realize that the simplicity is enjoying, whether it's product or service, enjoying the experience to deal with that person in the long run. Because
Right.
if you have friction or it does not make things simpler when you left you popped in and out. That was
flickered. We flickered.
Boing. but anyways.
Wow. Boing. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
hi,
got to be a word
Charles.
for Friday.
Boing.
Hey, Sandy Archer. Boing is going to be a word for Friday.
Boing. Which, by the way, I'm gonna show a little picture. There's Sandy right there.
Yeah.
She's gonna be there, and then the following week is gonna be Scott.
There's lip lock.
Yeah, lip lock in the house. But
I'm sure that we'll have words. I mean, we better start gearing up for words for Scott.
Yeah, you know what, Brian? I have a topic for this next week.
Oh, perfect.
I'll have to let you know. Yeah.
Wow. So we're even catering the message to the audience. We're targeting this for minutes. Wow. Good luck, Scott. Is all I got to say. It'll be fun nonetheless.
Well, it's just a thought. We'll see if you like it or not.
It's when I look at Scott to just to just go a little bit deeper with what you said is like your zone of genius. Awesome. Lip lock too. Yeah. Well, if you want to put that in, we'll see what.
Wait. Preferred Mr. No, sorry. Lynn can only do
Mr. Lip lock.
Lynn already did the graphic. She can't change it. No, just kidding.
Yeah. I'm Mr. Lip lock. To further what Scott was saying as far as your zone of genius, I think too is Sandy, watch up. Well, Sandy said that she's up for meeting a sugar daddy, so I don't know. That'd be a coordination. But I'll put a rest to the one more thought about what Scott said is not only going 1 inch wide and 10 feet deep or whatever that metric is that Lynn has evil thoughts at the very moment. She has evil thoughts right now. I'm just going to continue and let her laugh. So is that now this may be a little bit more difficult, but like if people are around different audiences and you just seem like they're different people. Now I'm sure that you could pick up on that through, phone calls or video or whatever. Not the measurements. Hi, everyone. Oh my, not the measurements. Yeah, no measurements here. I will just say, look at Lynn. She's still not over what was said about a minute ago. She's still reeling.
My rib hurts.
Sandy, your word is measurement.
You better write that one down.
I'm going to.
And I hope you can read it on our show.
Hey, that's enough. That's enough out of you.
Oh man, you guys.
So let me finish now that Lynn is moving away from looking like a tomato. That depending on your audiences, like if you're around people where they just feel like this is a feeling thing where if you feel like around this group of people they're one way, but then around you they might be a different way. Mm-hmm. And I think that the more that they are different, the more it just puts a bad taste in your mouth. Like, why do they have to be different people for different groups?
You got to write that one down. Bad taste in your mouth. Oh my goodness.
Measurement and bad taste in your mouth.
Oh shoot.
Sandy, I'm glad that you've been tuning in all week because you have advanced notice about what's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. So
are we like when bad taste in your mouth? Are we talking about like lack of?
Let's just stop. Come on, let's stop. You're gonna make me laugh so hard again. My rib's gonna be hurting, and we ain't even.
Is there anything wrong with that? Come on now.
Oh my gosh,
we're real and raw. Come on now.
That's right. Yeah,
capping it, though?
Yeah, real and raw. Okay. That just kind of makes me think of this. This is so funny. I gotta play this because this is so funny. Where is it? It's just like this.
A Santino.
Big shout out to Lynn. That's my friend out in Montana that I was telling you, and she's helping us set up. She's helping us set up like a whole new way for us to do our podcast, which is going to be so awesome. And
That's Lynn's doing that.
What's that?
Lynn?
It's Lynn's doing
okay.
that. You know, love you, babe. Thanks for helping us out. And she's got a great show I've been watching, Real and Raw with Lynn and Brian. They do it during the week, and it's really good. Real and raw. Yeah, I know. It sounds kind of like, but they keep it clean most of the time.
What does really
most
mean?
of the time.
I love that. Scott, I love that little eyebrow lift, and then I love the little, just the little.
I'm gonna have to clip the real and raw part and cut the other part out and just do.
We are endorsed by Mr. Liplock.
Yeah.
No, but Scott, I love the little eyebrow raise, and then after seeing that again, it's like, is it really real and raw? Like,
well, you know, he's done infomercials and TV and DJing and all that fun stuff. So he really is pretty quick-witted. I think he's gonna blow our doors off come when he's on the show because he's gonna be so.
Hey,
quick.
Ray. So we need you to comment on Lynn using my phrase. See, it's infectious. Everybody's using it now.
And I'm not paying you royalties for it either. No. Oh my God.
Just another hashtag I get no royalties on.
Oh, there you go. Oh man. But no, as far as the whole business thing, that's just it. You know, there's the days of being so professional that you don't have your personal demeanor or personality to it. Those days are over. Right. I mean, people are really into attraction marketing. They're into organic. They're into authenticity. I mean, it truly comes down to a different experience we have right now with just being vulnerable and compassionate with people. And it's really, really important to support those businesses that do that. I mean, I'm lucky that I go down to this one bank of mine. And I kid you not, I can go there without my driver's license and say, hey, I need money. Here's my signature. Can I get some money? They're like, sure, Lynn. They know who I am, and I get that service. They were training some new people, and I always give my driver's license anyways, but she goes, I can't find you on that. I said, well, that the account I'm here for is for my daughter. And she's like, oh, I didn't know that. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, you're new here. But, you know, the other person would know that that's, you know, it was for my daughter's account, not mine.
Yeah. Yeah, Sandy, I got to be honest with you. I'm really liking this too. You know, I think it speaks, I mean, business is more of an extension of who we are than we think, right? I know that there was for a long time there, it seemed like in business that it's like your personal life and your business life were two separate things. It's not the way it works anymore because people buy from people. It doesn't matter. You know, like I know countless people where it's like, it didn't matter what they sold. People just love being around them and they'll buy anything. Right. I mean, case in point, if somebody goes from an industry where they're very successful, but then they wanted to change, you know, like they went and got the schooling or whatever was needed. It doesn't matter what that person does. They just have that following of people that are like, I want to be around that person. So it's just a testament that people buy from people first.
Absolutely. It's just like when I went and I had roofers here for hail damage. I mean, this guy comes in my door and he really rubbed me the wrong way. I mean, he's out there doing his estimate and everything, gave me his business card. I looked, he didn't have nothing on Google nothing on Facebook. Right. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't even see your profile on Facebook. He goes, I hate Facebook. I'm like, you do? He goes, yeah, it's a waste of time. Okay. I go, well, I'm sorry. I says, I'm a marketer. I said, I help people on Facebook market. I said, and I deal and I support people that market or advertise on Facebook. And he goes, well, it's a waste of time. I said, well, I guess it's a waste of time here too. And he goes, well, what do you mean? I said, if I can't see who you are as a person, I said, yeah, you're a good looking guy, but that don't mean nothing to me. It's exactly what I said to.
Doesn't mean you're going to help me.
So then he comes on and goes, well, you know, we are 60% women. He goes, this business is my wife's and I do those stuff. I said, well, that's nice. I said, is she on Facebook? He goes, yes, she is. You could look her up. I said, sorry, you're the face I saw first. sorry, good luck. You might want to reconsider, doing Facebook. And this was like 2 years ago before Corona. So,
Yeah.
hey, Chip, nice for being
Hey,
here.
Chip, yeah,
We're talking
he's here
about
today.
business.
What's happening? Yeah, business and
Yeah.
simplicity. Yeah.
And so, again, it's, but I truly couldn't believe that he really shot his foot by saying it's a waste of time. I don't go on there. And I was like, well, I'm giving you a great tip. You might want to go there. And then when he said his wife, it was a female oriented trying to get me back that way. And he says, oh, my wife lives on Facebook. I was like, dude,
See, there's so many things wrong with this, and I know it's like a we can examine this stuff all day because it happens every day to everybody, right? But the one thing I want to point out is that everything you endured and went through had absolutely nothing to do with the outcome.
Right.
You have this need, you want to find somebody that can fulfill it.
Right.
And the first thing you run across is somebody that gets defensive, feels like they're better than social media, right? Just because how many people do things that they don't like, but they know they need to do them, like exercise, weight loss, whatever.
Brian,
they don't want to do those things, but they have to do it anyway.
Brian, all he had to do is, you know what? I don't have time for Facebook, but my wife's on it all the time. And yeah, she's the owner of the business. That's all he freaking had to do. And I would have went with him. But instead, he went on the defensive. Oh, big mistake.
See,
mistake.
So that right there speaks to people buy from people first.
Exactly.
So if the person is not somebody I like, it crosses out any opportunity of me giving you money for whatever you do.
He made it very difficult, and I guarantee today when he hears the word Facebook and I put that in his face, he probably still thinks of me. I guarantee it.
Well, Facebook has been a main source for getting the word out. Word of mouth just isn't enough these days. Yeah, I mean, you have to be everywhere to be heard. Chip, I was mentioning several minutes ago. Check out the clip if you have time or whatever. But I was talking about like 15 or 20 years ago in the wedding space, when somebody would refer somebody, it was like a sign of disrespect. If they're available, you reserve that person without question, right? Somehow they find the money if they don't have that money or whatever. But now it's a referral or word of mouth, maybe nothing more than just a name above going online.
Right.
So it's a lot less now, in my opinion.
And like I said, it just,
Now that referral or that word of mouth may not matter less, but unless anything happens, like where they actually make the communication or engage, that's where it gets lost in translation. Because the referral source of the person that loves them or cares about them is offering referral, right? They may never check in with that person to say, hey, did you reach out to them, right? And if the person doesn't do anything with it, well, then there's no connecting the dots of any kind.
Right. Yeah. So it's huge. It's huge. Mm-hmm. So anyhow.
Well, and I think that I come from a world of value, right? The best I've been trained by one of our mentors who we know for years, over 20 years, in value. Give value. Just give it away. Give it away. Prove your expertise. Don't talk about it. Because now more than ever, people will look you up online before they'll ever make contact.
Absolutely.
Ever.
Absolutely.
And what are you putting out there? Or why do you have to be prompted to do it? Because let's say that you give them a test run, right? Like you give somebody a tour of what it's like working with you. You're not going to turn a switch and all of a sudden magically I'm going to do these things because you pay me money. No. You have to do that without being requested to do so.
Well, it's the same thing. Anyway. It's the same thing goes with, I'm going to give some free marketing tips here for everyone. And that is if you own your own business or you're independent distributor, affiliate, or whatever, don't make the mistake of branding and talking about the business that you represent. You're making a big mistake because they go to Google, they make their assumptions, then they come back to see you. I have a friend, which is a mutual friend of ours, but I'm not going to oust her right now. She has the name of a company that she does side hustle to. And I'm like, girl, you're writing off, you're giving the company a name recognition. You need your snazzy, website. People don't understand that you can't, it's not conducive. People won't talk to you. They'll do their independent studies and you'll never hear another word from anything else. It's all about you and what you do, and
Well,
you know,
and people can read in between the lines about your motivation, and they don't ever have to talk to you.
right?
You know,
Absolutely.
like, are you there to truly help? Because you show that in by your consistency of posting or what you talk about. But we all know, because we've dealt with this before, but if it's all about a sale, if it's all about a sleazy way of getting somebody in your pipeline or whatever, they make more assumptions. Now, granted, they're assumptions or conclusions, but that's perception is reality about the way you do things.
Right.
If you ask for nothing, and if you just give and give and give. Now, I know in some industries, you know, especially now that we're in a virtual world, people take advantage of that. So you got to guard it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like your time with coaching and my time with people and idea generation, where it's like, well, you know, if I can go online and get all this free information, why would I have to pay for it?
Right.
Well, it's general information. It's not personal to you. And plus, an idea doesn't mean it's actually going to happen.
Right.
You know, just like look at, I'm not going to say the platform, but look at a platform that's been around for many years, and you see some beautiful photo of a bouquet, but it's like they're not telling you about what it cost, how long it took to make, the labor, the type of flowers, and then, oh, by the way, yeah, that was shot in New York City, and it took us 57 tries to make that image what it was.
Right.
There's a whole narrative around something to position it in such a way, but without the reality of, can you even afford that bouquet?
Right.
You know
Well,
what I mean?
and just like on Clubhouse or anything else, man, and it's on Android now too.
Yeah, I heard that.
And
I heard
and
that.
I haven't been over there in a little while, really. But you know, I don't really go advertising over there, being a coach and this and that and this and that, because there really is an abundance of customers. And I mean, I do from coaching, I do to marketing, I do to graphics. I mean, all these different things, and that's not what matters to me. Matters is quality of relationships and how I can help those people that are around me and help them with the knowledge I have.
My new show is called Reeling Around with What. Way to go, Charles. It's been a
No,
it's
he
been a few
didn't.
minutes, but you know, Lynn's cheeks have subsided a little bit, so we're bringing
Yeah.
them back a little bit. Hey, Mr.
Hi,
PC.
Larry. Man, you guys.
I think the, you know, I went through business school, marketing, advertising, and psychology, a triple major for my undergrad, you know, and this goes back to, you know, I graduated in 2003 with a triple major, a BA. And so, I mean, things have changed because social media wasn't around. You know, I mean, heck, Napster just came out, you know, and I was ready to graduate school.
Well,
there was no Facebook. There was none of that.
I won't
And-
tell you. I won't tell you that I went to business school in '87, so
Wow.
I'm way behind.
But it goes for as much as things change, it also remains the same. I know there's
Absolutely.
quotes about that. Push versus pull strategies of marketing, right? If you push it upon somebody, it's very easy. It's very easy for this day and age where it's like, ooh, if I feel like I'm being manipulated, if it's deceptive, if I'm influenced, right? It's one thing to impose it upon others, but it's another thing for them to want it. So It's
Right.
push. If I push it on somebody versus if they pull for it. And I'm a firm believer in having them pull for it by the narratives, the, you know, the storytelling that you do, by the proof, whether it's video or written, right? And just by thought-provoking ideas. You want to share with people different things. Make them want more. Plus, who knows to say is that along the journey they're going to perceive as an expert, because ultimately we want to be perceived as experts. You know, because an expert, now there's three different types of expert. There's the expert, there's a world-class expert, and then there's just an expert. Would you want to be that main person to go to in your marketplace for said business or said expertise? So attraction rather than promotion. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Nobody wants another sales pitch. They don't
No.
want to feel like they're being sold.
No.
But if
and
you
you
create
know,
a buying experience, if you create an atmosphere for them to be like, wow, this guy's never asked me for any business. He's never asked me for money.
you know, and
Because you
being
either want to buy or you don't.
being a marketer, social media manager, and all those things that I'm labeled, I know what annoys me. And if it annoys me, it annoys anybody else. And this is the problem with people out there pitching their shit. Doesn't it annoy you when somebody else is doing that? So why the hell are you
100%.
doing it? I mean,
100%.
hello, McFly, get off that side and get, you know, yeah,
Oh, well,
it's
and plus,
really annoying.
I think it challenges somebody's integrity, Because if they say everything that they do, but then they don't take action on those things, I'll catch up with you two later on MySpace. I'll be checking on Napster. Well done. That's screenshot worthy right there, Charles.
It's my friend Scuba Steve.
Hey, Scuba Steve. Hey. It when somebody's like saying, "Oh no, I'm a value provider," or whatever. Okay, my first red flag is that people that are usually don't have to say it.
Yeah.
They just do it, right? And then the end user is the one that feels that, right?
Right.
Number two is that I'll call people out and be like, "Wait a minute, I thought that you said this early on, but now you're asking about something that you said you do. Which one is it? Let's just be clear."
Yeah.
So the words that they say might not necessarily match the actions they take.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, yeah, I learned social media stuff 20 years ago, and 10 years ago, I was really going to pursue it. And I'm like, shit, I don't want to be a virtual assistant and do this shit. So now I'm more of a consultant. Now I'm more giving people the knowledge of what they need to look for in a VA and all that. But again, I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, I know all this knowledge when it's not my genius zone to be there micromanaging somebody's shit. I don't even like doing my own Instagram, let alone sit there and I know what needs to be done though. It's one of those things, don't do as I say, say as I do kind of thing.
And I've noticed that when people's only about their pipeline and only about fulfilling their needs without really caring if the customer's fulfilled, they want to be vague and they want to do it as fast as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't want to have any guidance. They don't want to be of service in any way other than don't disrupt the money.
Yeah.
Well, when I feel that coming on and I feel like I'm being sold to, it's like, whoa, number one, that doesn't feel right. Number two is like, this person's always going to have an empty pipeline because they don't get it. The reason why their pipeline is always empty is because people want something other than that.
Well, and then there's the reverse of that too. Some people don't understand that for marketing, they're like, oh, Lynn, I don't need to know anything about marketing because we're so busy we can't handle it. Okay. And then when you don't have anything in the pipeline, you're gonna try to do what? You know how long that's gonna take to get that many? I mean, like, people don't understand the concept. It's just like if you have a rhythm of losing weight and all of a sudden something else comes along and you're like, let me do this. Well, what you were doing was working for you, right? Why did you just change what was working for you? Yep. So, yeah.
I'll share a quick story and then we got to go. And then final thoughts is that several years ago in my industry, I've been known to be the type of person that creates really deep personal relationships of years with my customers, right? And this guy reached out to me and it's like, I know so much about my customers, the age of their kids, when they were born, a new house, a new job, all of these different things. And all I did was really ask. That's it.
Really? Whoa, what a concept.
Science here, but I care enough to ask because I see importance in keeping in touch, right? And it's not to sell them anything. It's to just acknowledge them for the special days in their lives. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by not asking, like, hey, do you know of anybody? No. The minute you start doing that after you've created a really deep relationship, they start to wonder what your intention is.
Oh, man. I had this Mary Kay chick once. And I mean, here I am in Montana and I was in a serious conversation with, I think, my mom or something back east. And the call was waiting and I answered and she's like, hey, Lynn, I says, I got long distance. This is back when you had to worry about your long distance minutes, right? And she goes, hey, Lynn, I says, I've got to go. I don't have time for you, and she goes, well, don't you have enough time to think of somebody you care about that might want to do the Mary Kay business? I'm like, really? That's your sales pitch to me? Oh, hell no. I was just like, wrong answer, wrong question to be asking me, and again, if you have those feelings about those things, then why the heck do you turn around and start a business and start doing that? And I just thought it was funny. The other day, somebody I went to school with, hey, Lynn, hey, sissy, I wrote another book. Here, pay for a book. And I was like, well, have you looked at my page? I published a book too. You didn't say, hey, Lynn, I want to buy your book. You're going to buy mine. Mm-hmm. But Don't make the mistake of not checking somebody's profile out, people. See what the hell they're up to before you go ahead and look like a fool, because you will look like a fool when you don't realize what they're going through.
I want to share a couple more things and then we're out of here.
Yes, we're
Is
going to
that
be out
to
of here.
finish that story off, is that the guy's like, when I asked him, I said, well, he goes, I need to get better at, keeping in touch with my customers. I said, okay. I said, no, there's only 2 reasons why you're potentially doing it. Number one, you need to add people to your pipeline ASAP because you need revenue. Or number 2, you really feel that that's what your business model is. You want to acknowledge people, nothing more, to keep in touch and to have that kind of business. I said, which one is it? He goes, oh, I got to fill my pipeline. I said, don't do it. Don't do it. Because whatever perception your customers have of you now, it's not going to stay there once they find out that you're doing this thing for some other reason than just to acknowledge them and to celebrate them.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that was huge, because I'm like, that there's a reason why people don't do that is because number one, it's a heck of a lot of work. Number 2, maybe that's not how they serve their customers, and that's okay. But don't expect people to hold you in high regards if you just kind of like, okay, the wedding is over, done. Who's next? That's a man, especially when some of these weddings are anywhere from 6 months to 2 years in the making, and all of a sudden after the day is done, then so is, I guess, the friendship is, or all the memories, or all the successes, or all the fun moments that came out of it. Not my book, though. Not my book. That's something to revel in for many, many years.
You'll get caught right away not being genuine. Well, correct. We need to get going. Thank you, Scott.
What a great show today.
Great show every day, just hanging out with you. Have a good one, guys. We will see you tomorrow on day 4. And Sandy will be here on Friday.
Sandy, get ready. We got lots of good words for you.
Have a good one. Bye.